Next up is Shammah Chancellor of Stamp Chat, and he's going to tell us how Stamp Chat will change messaging. Over to you, Shammah.
Hi. Yeah, so Stamp is my Bitcoin Cash wallet that I've been working on, and I want to talk a little bit about that, but additionally, I want to talk about how it works because I want to convince other wallet developers to interoperate with it. So hopefully my slides are visible here. I'm not super familiar with this.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay. So Stamp is the wallet, and then there's a suite of protocols that power it called CashWeb. I've got a link to the white paper down here at the bottom. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. I don't have a ton of time for this presentation, so most of the details will be more in the white paper. So what is Stamp? Stamp is a cryptocurrency wallet, but our focus is on digital communications as well as financial transactions. So Bitcoin fundamentally is a social network, but right now it only provides a way to transfer value between members of this social network. And I want to enable people to communicate additional information along with that value. And so some of the things that are enabled by doing this are peer-to-peer messaging, open marketplaces, DApps, DeFi protocols. You know, you could build a decentralized exchange with this messaging system. And also, all of the social networks online right now are operated by a company. And as such, you know, Facebook Messenger doesn't interoperate with Zoom, it doesn't interoperate with Google Hangouts, doesn't interoperate with WhatsApp or Telegram, and all of these systems have their own moderation mechanisms in order to keep spam off of there. But if they can keep spam off, they can also keep people off. And they can also monitor our conversations. A lot of people think that Telegram is private. That's really not. All of the messages by default are unencrypted. And if you want to start a secret chat with somebody, they can man in the middle the keys if they wanted to. So Stamp is built on this CashWeb protocol suite that doesn't allow any of that to occur. And this is what Stamp looks like right now. It's kind of modeled after a traditional messenger that people might be familiar with. One of the clear differences here is on the lower left, you can send Bitcoins right in that, and that's basically, those are private transactions. Because wallets can interoperate right on the, through the CashWeb protocol, they can negotiate using different addresses than the one that you provided up front. So you can reuse your account address without having to continually go to your wallet and generate a new recipient address. Like, you don't have to provide that every single time. So it simplifies sending Bitcoin to other individuals. And then in addition, when you send a message in CashWeb, there's a small payment that goes with it. And on the lower left here, you can see that that's 5,000 sats for me right now. And that essentially keeps spam off the network. And this is based around Hal Finney's idea of reusable proof of work, which essentially attaches some value to every message, and then that value can be reused by the recipient. If it's a peer-to-peer conversation, then you're exchanging the same 5,000 sats back and forth. It really doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to send out wide mass mailing, a lot of those recipients won't respond, and it will cost you a lot of money to do that. And so that's the way that Stamp maintains an unmoderated and decentralized system by attaching small payments to all of the messages. Why would we want to do that? It's important that we're able to speak and transact without censorship. And in order to do that, we need a platform that's not managed by anyone. If we want to maintain our free speech, then like we don't have any other options. So what does something like this allow? I talked about it a little bit already. It allows a lot of data to be transferred off chain directly to another wallet. So a lot of these existing systems require broadcasting op return messages, and everybody gets to see them. Even if they're encrypted, they have to process this data. It's very unnecessary. So CashWeb sends messages directly to other people's wallet, and in that way it's sharded, so that it's much more scalable than just using the op return mechanisms. It allows things like seamless multi-sig, so one wallet can message another wallet requesting that they sign a transaction, and the other user can just approve that. It doesn't require specialized infrastructure like the existing multi-sig wallets. Like if you want a multi-sig wallet with the Bitcoin.com wallet, it won't work with a copay wallet. Whereas if both of these wallets use just the CashWeb protocol to do that, they would interoperate, and it allows every wallet developer in the ecosystem to band together to compete with outside cryptocurrencies, outside messaging platforms, outside payment systems, and allows things like confidential transactions, because you can do things that are very similar to like Mimblewimble, and send all of the metadata that would be required for the recipient to spend those that group of transactions off chain in an encrypted way that nobody else can observe. It also allows things like pay to endpoint, which allows you to exchange UTXOs with one of your contacts. So you could swap UTXOs in such a way that it would break chainalysis. So there's a lot of different options there for any interactive cryptographic protocols. Right now, if you want to do anything interactive, wallets like Electron Cash require serializing the data into like base64, and then you have to email it to the person or contact them on Telegram. This means that you have to exchange Bitcoin Cash addresses in addition to some other kind of communications platform. By using Stamp and the CashWeb protocol, wallets are able to obviate all of those extra interactions. It allows different wallet places. It allows DApps. You can seamlessly integrate with existing web applications. The Stamp wallet itself, all of the relay systems and the account registration systems are all based on standard HTTP2 protocols, protobufs, and WebSockets. So they work with existing digital infrastructure like load balancers. You could implement chatbots that handle money. You could, for example, you could just implement a dice game very easily. In order to do this, there's a few things that have to be solved. You need identity management. One of the big problems right now is that if you have an address that you've advertised as just for one of your friends to send money to, if you lose that key or it gets compromised, you'd have to go to all your contacts and re-notify them of that you're using a new address, and to don't send any payments to the old address. CashWeb's identity management system allows you to advertise a revocation and advertise a new address in such a way that whoever compromised your key can't do that on your behalf. And this is a really big problem because it's not generally a question of if a non-technical user's key will be compromised, but when. And the identity also needs to be decentralized. You don't want some company to have access to revoke your identity or censor you online. But if there's no central manager, you need a way to combat spam, and you need incentives for people to run the infrastructure involved in this. Like I said, CashWeb Systems allows significantly more than just Stamp to operate. And the wallet-to-wallet communications allow all these advanced features on Bitcoin Cash that you can't currently do without a lot of manual exchanges of outside information. And the philosophy for these protocols is that it should be simple. You should be able to migrate your identity from one relay server to another. One of the big problems with email right now is, you have shammah@gmail.com. If I want to create a new email address because I don't like Gmail, which is something that actually I would like to do, I would have to go to everyone that has my existing email address and tell them I'm now not using that. Within CashWeb, you don't need to do that. You can advertise through the CashWeb system that I'm not using Google to provide my CashWeb account anymore. You need to be able to recover your identity if your keys get lost. It needs to be secure and private. It needs to be permissionless. Everyone should be able to interact with this system, and nobody should be able to be censored on it. And the privacy level that you choose to have should be implemented in the wallet itself, and the protocol should enable that wallet to be as private as the end user desires. In some cases, that ends up costing more money because your transactions will be larger. It needs to be extensible to all the wallet developers in the ecosystem. So the Stamp protocol is very payload agnostic. As long as a wallet implements a particular type of payload, then they can interoperate. And then it should be able to be integrated with existing web infrastructure so that it's easy for standard web developers to use it. A lot of the existing efforts that are being made in Bitcoin Cash rely on these op return transactions and then other notification systems. They require address indexing. All this stuff's very unfamiliar to standard web developers. They're familiar with things like HTTP, WebSockets, JDBC tokens, etc. So CashWeb's built on all of that, that existing technology. The central concepts then is that we use web standards. We use cryptocurrency to prevent abuse. We provide an identity mechanism and a standard message format that wallets can implement. So there's three pieces of infrastructure that are key to implementing the CashWeb system. One is the key server. It's a shared everything key value store and identity management system. It also provides discovery for relay servers, and it has DDoS protection so that it can't be overwhelmed. So there's the existing GPG key servers online. Some of you may be aware that they had a big DDoS attack where essentially people were advertising thousands and thousands of PGP or GPG keys because it didn't cost anything to register them, and that took down the system for quite a while. The way that the CashWeb key servers operate, somebody actually has to spend some Bitcoin Cash to register their identity with it. And in this way, you can't just go and register tons and tons of identities. And because it's a shared everything key value score, everyone running a key server advertises your account. And that allows for wallets to go to this key server network, any particular one they want, and ask for a cryptographically secure payload that you provided in a key. And the key in the key value store is essentially your Bitcoin Cash address. So the payload then has a bunch of metadata associated with it, and then it's signed with the key that is associated with that Bitcoin Cash address. It also advertises your public key. So then all your contacts actually have your public key, and they can do encryption based on that. So that's how all of the messaging on Stamp is cryptographically secure and encrypted by default. And then the metadata in those in the key servers associated with your address can include a lot of different stuff. For example, it could include a V card. So you could have a business card. Somebody just scans the QR code on it that has your Bitcoin Cash address. They go to the key servers and they get whatever other contact information they wanted, or whatever other contact information that you advertise. But most importantly, it advertises essentially your where you receive messages. So somewhat similar to your email server. And this is how you get rid of the @gmail.com portion. If you want to migrate to a new relay provider, you just update what your metadata in the key server says. And then you can move your messages through a migration process if you want to maintain them. The relay servers are what provide the mechanism for wallets to communicate with each other. So instead of directly advertising a wallet's address, which would not work if you were offline and changes frequently, you advertise a relay server. So the basic flow would be your new friend goes to the key server, looks up your Bitcoin Cash address, finds your relay server, and then it would construct a message and send it to the relay server where you are known to look for messages. And then if you're offline, you can go and fetch that message later, or you can get a real-time notification for that message through a WebSocket. And then the final piece of the infrastructure are wallets and other clients. So wallets, bots, dApps, etc. So that is the basics of everything. I've reserved some time here for questions. Not sure quite how I can see where those are, though. If George could help me out here.
Absolutely. Wonderful presentation. This is a good time to ask Shammah your questions. Let's see. So I think one question is, how far away is a mobile version?
So we've chosen a framework that works on mobile, but we've been pretty heavily focused on just making the whole thing work. So in order to work on mobile, essentially what we need to do is fix all the layouts so that they also function on mobile and not just desktop. And then we need accounts on the Android and Apple Store. And that's about it. So it's not super far away, but we're more focused on getting the protocol right. We don't want to have to do protocol migrations in the future. We'd sort of like to, as best as possible, solidify them right now while we're still on testnet, and then sort of move into the mobile ecosystem. I believe it's absolutely important because I receive most of my messaging on my phone, and so clearly desktop is not where we want to be long term. But that is one thing that Stamp also enables, is that because of these relay servers, you can receive messages across multiple devices as long as they share the same account, and then all stay in sync. And this, because all these messages are encrypted, it also allows some other interesting applications like storing files that you want to access across multiple devices, maybe doing password management, etc.
All right. Question from the chat. When can we get Stamp on mainnet?
I will put Stamp on mainnet when I'm comfortable that I'm not going to cause any financial loss. Right now, I'm providing the few key servers and relay servers that are up. One of the things about Stamp is that you do have these messages that are stored in an encrypted backend online. So you can recover your wallet very easily, but if I need to change the protocol, I either need to do a seamless migration, or your funds could potentially be lost if you don't export them first. And I don't want people to have to go through that process. And also, I need to be confident that these backends are highly available for people, so they're not going up and down. So that's my main two concerns. I expect to have mobile and be on mainnet by the end of the year.
Okay, cool. Question from Chris Troutner. How are you planning to abstract these ideas, make them generally accessible to app developers, such as, via libraries, specifications?
So there is a specifications repo on the GitHub, and we're slowly adding to it. Right now, the key server specification's up. We're working on the relay server specification. We've had to change a few things with the messaging format. So that's sort of to be finished.
Okay.
Thanks.
So someone in the chat wants to know how they can contribute to the mobile version, how to join the team.
That'd be great. Yeah, just join the community group, and then yeah, message me, and we can get you on the GitHub. I can show you how to download the set up a developer environment and get started. The mobile version can be created right now in the Android like emulator and the Apple emulator, and you can run it. So the main thing that needs to be fixed there is all the layouts.
Okay, excellent. Tyler asks, can people using different key servers communicate, or do different key servers create different universes?
No, so the key servers are shared everything. So as long as they're like Electron servers, as long as they're peering each other, they'll stay in sync. And if they get out of sync for a while, they have eventually consistent consensus mechanism. And that's possible because unlike Bitcoin Cash's base layer, you don't need to have everything in sync all the time. It's only important the data associated with a particular address, and only one wallet can update that. And so you can have a much simpler consensus mechanism there. And the consensus mechanism, the peering, is just based on HTTP. The individual key servers will fetch keys from each other as needed.
Cool. Are you raising capital at all?
Yeah, I'd love to raise capital. We're still working on all the slide decks for that. The ways in which we're planning to generate profit are sort of the things that we need to clarify in there. There's a lot of different opportunities for generating money out of the wallet. In particular, one of the things that my goal is for this is to sort of flip the economics on its head. And people often talk about why would I want to pay to message somebody? But that's not really my focus through creating a company that would operate on Bitcoin Cash. Actually, what I want to do is pay people to use Bitcoin Cash. There's a lot of ways we could do that. And one of the ways is essentially newsletter subscriptions that include advertising. So we get advertising dollars and then sort of revenue share with everybody that's using Stamp. And in doing so, we can provide much more targeted ads if people want to sign up for those, and then they could potentially make money themselves off of that. I'm not particularly interested in running gambling bots and whatnot, but people could do that, which is I think another attractive thing to get developers into the ecosystem in countries where that's legal. Digital marketplaces, can sell gift cards and provide seamless experiences there. There's a ton of other options. So that's the main thing I'm focused on there. But yeah, I do want to raise capital. It's very important to get more resources behind this project. It's a huge project, and right now it's just me and one other guy that I'm paying. And that's what I have the resources for. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, I think so. Looks like we're out of questions. Do you want to add any final words?
Yeah, I'd love to hear any feedback. it would be great to, oh yeah, so one of the other things I want to talk about, the economics. I think this gets lost on people a lot, especially in the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem. Um, people are focused on merchant adoption, but Bitcoin Cash really shines at digital payments, especially because of the volatility of the currency. With digital services, there's a huge profit margin. So you have this upfront capital cost, and then essentially after that, everything is profit once you've recouped your capital investment. So this allows these digital services to tolerate a lot more volatility. But in addition to that, it allows these digital services to spin up with a lot less expense. So if you want to run Dropbox, you need a complicated registration service, complicated admin panel. You have to be able to integrate with the existing banking system. Doing these sorts of things with Bitcoin Cash obviates all of that. Users can just directly pay you Bitcoin Cash. Even with the existing services like a VPN, for example, you need to go to their website, sign up for an account. They'll give you a QR code and an address. You go pay that, then your address, then you get access to that VPN. But with something like the CashWeb system, your wallet can just go to a tracker for VPN providers, provide a payment directly to them through an HTTP request, get a JWT token. There's no account registration. I can spin up a VPN and use it. So there's a lot of things possible with Bitcoin Cash. They're just not being done right now. And then, in addition to that, there's the sort of user cost of acquisition. So generally, users cost some fixed amount. Maybe it costs $10 to get somebody to sign up for Bitcoin Cash and start using it. Whatever the incentive is that is required for somebody to go through the effort of becoming a Bitcoin Cash user. But the actual value of Bitcoin Cash is proportional to the square number of people that are using it. So you have this fixed cost of $10 per new customer, but the value to the network is, grows with each new person. So eventually there's a payoff there where paying the $10 to get somebody to become a Bitcoin Cash user is actually generating you a significant amount more money than that. And as the network grows, there's also a bigger benefit to the people to become a user. So the cost actually drops. And a lot of the businesses in the ecosystem are not really, I don't think that they're operating in that way. They're not paying people to become Bitcoin Cash users. So that's another thing that I think is, part of the Stamp business model. Anyways, thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Shammah Chancellor of Stamp Chat. Great presentation. Really looking forward to seeing Stamp have success.